people as U.S. aid agencies rush to get relief and supplies to the area. This week, senators were briefed on the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down off the coast of South Carolina. On Thursday, we spoke with Senator Joni Ernst, who sits on the Armed Services Committee, about China's role in the fentanyl crisis and its global surveillance operations. Without getting into classified information, what were the collection capabilities of the spy balloon?
So I would just like to reassure the American people that certainly I don't think the Chinese were tapping into their phones through this so-called weather balloon. We are on notice now, and the ability now to push back against the Chinese is increased much.
And when you say push back against the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, what do you mean?
By understanding now the patterns of this balloon, maybe understanding the technology behind the balloon, we will be able to push back and understand that if they come near us again, we will have other courses of action to counter those Chinese efforts.
Has the U.S. government recovered enough of the spy balloon to understand what it was after?
We now have the ability to recover the pieces of the balloon from much more shallow waters than if it had been downed elsewhere. So I do believe that the United States government, our intelligence agencies, will be able to piece a lot of that together. So I'm anxious to hear the results of that.
Any concern the Chinese military sabotaged the technology before it was shot down by the U.S.?
Well, that I'm unaware at this time, but Catherine, to your point, if there was sabotage, we should be able to tell that when we recover all the necessary components.
Are you satisfied with the White House's approach?
I am not satisfied with the White House approach, absolutely not. And the president had the opportunity, a full hour in front of the American people on Tuesday night during his State of the Union address. And Catherine, he did not mention it. He did not reassure the American people.
You recently returned from a congressional trip to Mexico where you investigated the flow of fentanyl into the United States. Do border agents have the tools they need?
Customs and Border Patrol agents feel that they're basically Uber drivers, just simply moving migrants further up into our country. So it's very disheartening for them. We have to come up with real solutions. And I've proposed a number of those that we'll be diving into. We need more canine dogs seeking out not only fentanyl, but other illicit drugs. We do need more technology and more cameras for those Border Patrol agents, as well as their Customs and Border Protection personnel as well. But we need to work with the Mexicans as well to find solutions.
A question in two parts. What more can the U.S. government be doing with Mexico? And are the U.S. government's three-letter agencies, FBI, DHS, FBI, DEA, are they all talking to each other?
Right. Sometimes the information is siloed between agencies. So one of the things that we could do with Mexico is start an interagency task force in Mexico. The Chinese are selling these precursor chemicals into Mexico. Then the Mexican cartels are working on making the fentanyl and distributing up into the United States. So there are a number of activities that we can engage with the Mexicans on.
The flow of fentanyl into the United States and the precursors to Mexico, is this happening with the tacit approval of the Chinese Communist Party?
Catherine, I believe it is. I think that the Chinese are intentionally poisoning America. And it is a sad circumstance, but this is where we need to really focus with Mexico on stopping those precursors. Now, the precursors do oftentimes have a legitimate use in a business or industry, but certainly we can track those precursors with the assistance of the Mexicans on where those precursors are going, and then find out if there is a legitimate use.
Your assessment on the role of the Chinese Communist Party, to be clear, that's based on your experience on the Hill and the briefings that you've received.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, the Chinese don't want to assist us with this.
Senator, why are you making fentanyl a personal priority?
When we see an adversary like China poisoning our communities. It's very disconcerting. So we have to educate the American people. We have to work with our Mexican counterparts to push back against the cartel and the Chinese. We can't continue to lose our youth to this fentanyl epidemic. It is extremely important that we push back on this and save a lot of heartache with a lot of incredible families across the United States.
CBS News reached out to the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. for comment about our interview with Senator Ernst, and there was no immediate response.